Good morning, everybody.
Welcome.
Welcome to the Loan Officer Breakfast Club. It's going to be a great day, my friends. It is Thursday, June 5th, 2025. Hey, we got Owen Lee back in the house. It's been a minute. He's back. This will be fun. And of course, we have all of you guys here. Always great to see everybody. Hey, James Swanson made it today. James, good to see you, my friend. James Swanson, good to see you, man. Yeah. Hey, Steve Umstead, what's happening, brother? What's going on, man? Good to see you. Monica Ochoa. Ochoa, did I get it right, Monica? Ochoa?
Close.
I did?
Close.
Yes,
It's
thank
close.
you. Good morning.
Good morning. Where are you at, Monica?
In Florida.
In Florida? Yeah.
Yes.
What part?
Fort Lauderdale?
Fort Lauderdale. Wow.
Yes.
I have no idea where that is in relation to anything in Florida.
It's,
But,
It's south of Boca Raton.
and he doesn't know where that is either.
I don't. Yeah.
So it's part of the greater Miami metroplex. Let's just say that way. It's South Florida on the Miami side, just north of Miami.
Is the Miami side east or
The Miami side is the very
on
very
the
south
Atlantic?
east. Yeah, the very southeast.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
The
it's
gateway to the
south.
Keys. Yeah, very very south is the gateway to the Keys.
Fascinating.
But the Keys are not on the south. Well, I mean, they're south of Florida, but they take off on the very east side of Florida. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's
You need to get out, Frank.
it's
I
all
was
hot
like,
and muggy, right?
You
It's
were
all
a
hot and
Navy
muggy, no
man.
matter.
I would have
get
thought
out.
you would have known that.
You need to get out. You need to
Well,
get out.
I was a West Coast Navy man, just so you know.
Oh,
That
okay.
explains it.
okay.
That
Talk
explains
to me
a
about
lot.
the West Coast, and we're good to go.
That explains a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Although, so look at people are picking on me already. Navy man, no navigation. All right, all right.
Can we help you with anything, Frank? Like a map?
All right, it's Pick on Frank Day. I can see what's going on here. It's all good, man. I like it, actually. I think it's fun to get picked on. Speaking about picking on people, there's Kevin Gillespie's here. I think we can pick on him a little bit. What's going on, Kevin? How you doing?
Hi, Kevin.
Hey, I'm doing great, man. Just you get my age, you're happy to wake up. I get to hang out with you and hear Owen today. You know,
Right.
Owen's one of my favorite people to listen to.
Yeah.
Doesn't get
yeah.
much smarter than that. So
Yeah.
geez,
yeah.
good.
That's good. Good,
And our
good.
people in leadership are really growing their operations. Volume's picking up. It's pretty cool. Everybody's
Yeah.
doing better.
Nice. Excellent. Good to hear from you, man. Good to have you here. Hey, you know what? We usually kind of go through wins, before we, and we're just, how it is. We kind of let the crowd pour in for you. Right now they're in the lobby getting their sodas and their popcorn and all that kind of stuff. We want to make sure,
bit of a
they're
line.
all in.
It's a bit of a line.
There's a line.
There's a
Yeah.
line.
So once they get in, then,
Yeah, it's
we'll
like
make
going to
sure
an
they get
Eagles
it.
concert without Glenn Fry or, it's just
Or without the Eagles. Yeah. So, yeah. So, normally
the
we kind
Adam
of
Lambert version of Queen,
I like Adam. Wait a minute. I like Adam.
So anyway, as I was saying, normally we kind of go through some wins, right? That kind of thing. You know what I want to touch base on real quick?
Tell me.
Who's having a problem and what's the problem?
Mm.
What's the issue right now? Who's got an issue? Feel like this is what's messing me up.
What's your
Who?
issue?
Oh, Victoria Johnson's got an issue.
What's your
All right.
No,
What
no,
is
no.
it?
She's the only honest person that's vocalizing her. We all have it.
That's right.
No, really, we all do.
What do you got?
What do you got?
I need to know what lender will do a buy before you sell loan with property that's over 20 acres.
That's you know what? I'll tell you this, Victoria. You indeed do have an issue. Yeah, you indeed do have an issue, my dear. Yeah, that's a tough one. Hey, if anybody, and you know what? This is
I
a
can
great
help
thing
her.
to ask. Who can help? Kevin Gillespie to the rescue. What do you got?
Victoria, I don't have a specific issue for you, but there is a mortgageq.ai is a website and it will do non-traditional, non-QM loans, and you can put in exactly what you'll do and it'll give you anybody in the database that does that kind of loan. I hope that
Okay,
helps.
hold on.
Perfect.
Wait.
First, we have to do the record
before you get
scratch.
that again, we want 10%. I'm just saying.
There's a price to pay,
I have nothing
Victoria.
to do
We're
with
going
it.
to spend 2,000 people there that listen to this thing on the
I'm just
podcast.
trying
Okay,
to
the
help.
check's in the mail.
Yeah.
All right, give it to us again, Kevin. What was it?
MortgageQ.ai.
.ai. Some maybe Gen Z could throw that in the old chat. Well,
We got a bunch
are you
of
too busy, Jen? If
folks
you're
in
too
our
busy,
group
don't worry
using
about it.
it.
No, I
They
got
love
it. I got it.
MortgageQ.ai.
You need to call them and tell them they're buying our coffee at our next event.
Exactly.
I'm just saying.
Do I hear a sponsorship
That's what I'm
phone
saying.
call being made?
That's
Right.
what I'm saying. Yeah.
Wow. Hey, well, there you go, Victoria. It wasn't a direct answer, but maybe it's a good resource for you. What do you
That's
think?
good.
Well, he
That's
didn't.
good.
What I got out of that one is Kevin just didn't give you a fish. He just taught you how to fish, and that's
That's
How
much
to
more
fish,
valuable.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
very nice.
All right. Well,
Thank
good.
you.
All right. Lee has his hand up. Lee, what's your issue, man? What you got going on? What do you need help with?
What I'm wrestling with is I'm excited every time I hear wins here on Breakfast Club. I'm excited to see everything that's going on. I'm doing all my DSP stuff, but I haven't caught traction yet, and I'm fighting discouragement. I'm just wondering some quick ideas on how to get around that.
Where are you located at?
Richmond, Virginia.
Okay, great area. So, how many, and nobody's here to judge you. We're here to help, right? Everybody understand that? I'm not just being Lee. We're talking to everybody here.
Mm-hmm.
So how many, so you're calling your DSP. So let's talk about the pre and post coffee. How many pre-coffees do you call each Monday?
I do between myself alone, I probably do 10 to 15.
That's not
and
enough.
My VA does probably about 30.
That's not enough. I would fire. So if you're not getting appointments, fire your VA, get another
Okay.
one because they're not doing their job. Because ours is setting appointments all day long. Chris Johnstone's, they're setting hundreds, right? So we know that works. So you got the wrong VA, so fire them immediately, and you're not calling enough.
Okay.
I think too, maybe call into the office and let's do like a fast action 90-day plan. It'll tell
That
you
sounds like a great idea.
based off your
Yeah.
goal of what you're trying to accomplish, and then we back into the numbers for you. So
That's a great plan.
definitely, I'll shoot you a message and give you the number to the office. Give us a call.
Yeah, I have it on the mortgage market stuff. So yeah,
Lee,
I'll
just
reach
give
out.
me a call.
Well,
You know,
sometimes,
Jen.
sometimes it's cool to talk.
Mhm.
Lee, like get on the phone with someone from the main office and go through it again, and just together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Sounds
but
great.
it needs to be at least 13 hellos a day. So not
Mhm.
13 calls, but 13 hellos.
That's true.
And if your VA is not getting results by the second week, you got the wrong VA.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would like to do this because we probably got some people right now that are going, what is this fast track 90 thing? How do I do this? And who do I talk to? So what's the best way? If you're not a Marketing Animals member, just put it, hey, do me a favor, just put it in the chat 90 day. And if you're interested in the 90 day, we'll reach out to you. Does that sound okay? Is that fair? Is that cool? Can we do that? So just put in 90 day. Yeah, throw 90 day in there. We'll reach out to you. We'll help you because really it does come down to that, doesn't it?
Because
That's what really comes
it works all the time. It just has to be done, right. And lead the right, not you, of course, but the right. If you have an extra person, you have to have the right person. And it never takes for the right person. We give them 1 week to ramp up. By the second week, if they're not getting at least 1 or 2 appointments per day, we cut them loose.
Well, and I
That's
want to point out
brilliant.
too, Lee, that we do have call stars too on the MMA side, but just regardless the power of community, because it's easy to get discouraged when you're doing it alone. And when you're with a community of people rallying with the same goal, it makes a difference. So definitely reach out.
So, and I'll say this too, and we'll get to you, Greg. Then we'll get to Owen. We're right at that moment. But for those of you that put 90 day in there, so here's what's going to happen: is we're going to figure out who you are, right, from the chat, and we're going to reach out to you to try and help you out. So, if you put 90 day in the chat, we just promise us that when we reach out to you, you'll pick up and you'll talk to us because that's why we're reaching out to you.
Or
Because
at
you
least
asked,
return the call.
you asked
At
for
least return
help,
the call.
yeah, and we're happy to help you. But just reach out. So if you put 90 day in there and you put promise in the chat too. Promise,
Yeah.
I'll pick up the phone, or promise I'll call the
return.
person back because we're gonna, we're working too. We're going to put in the effort to find you and get a hold of you and give you a call just to try and help you out. So put promise. Thank you for the promise. Thank you. All right, Greg, what you got, buddy?
Quick question, but first a response to Lee. The other thing that made me accountable beyond call stars was getting some type of dialer because then I couldn't drop focus and do something else. So for me, I just stopped saying I was calling and actually make sure I was calling. Like, that was no question. And then my question for everybody is, I have a branch manager that fancies himself the coach, and he is very insistent that I am making a huge miss by not planning 2 events a month, which is not my favorite thing. But I'm wondering, am I missing out on something major by not planning 2 events a month? One lunch and learn and one happy hour.
That's a good question. Carl, what are your thoughts on that?
Man, I tell you what, Greg, if Frank was my branch manager and he said, Carl, if you don't do a happy hour, this is not going to work out. That's nails on a blackboard for me. I don't get me wrong. I enjoy a good bourbon from time to time. I'm not talking about that, but like going to a happy hour where a bunch of people are slurring and I'm pretending to be doing business, that is a horrible mistake. I prefer when I do business that people be sober so they remember my conversations. It's just a little pet peeve of mine. And at 5 o'clock, I'm with my family. So I'm not out with the boys drinking. I'm not going bowling. If I am, I'm going with my wife. And I go drinking, I go with my wife, right? But 5 o'clock is my family time, so I'm not going to do that. So the good news is, yes, he's right, and yes, you're right. And so people that have that are not in, so I'm very much an introvert, right? A lot of salespeople are. And so if those of us that are introverted, there's things that we can do to do. Like, I think doing like classes at the Real Estate Association, I would do that one time every 6 months would crush a happy hour, right? Because you're going to have more people and somebody else is putting the butts in the chairs, which is association, which is what I like. And so I think teaching classes is fine. I think happy hours are fine, but there's so many good things that we can do that what we do is we find what are those things that we enjoy doing that mix with my personality that works. Now I can't say, well, gee, I think watching, sitting home watching soap opera, I really like doing that. That doesn't work. So we have to do things that actually work. But I talk with my friend Chauncey, and Chauncey says, hey, I'm doing this thing. I go, damn, I'd like to do that too. Then I think we can do that. So there's enough things that we can do that we can structure our business around our personality and do it exactly how we want to. Otherwise, that's where we're getting to burnout. Burnout is when you do something that works, but you hate doing it.
Yep. Yeah.
So there's enough ways that we can get sales in that we can do it our way. So yes, he's right. And yes, you're right. I don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't drink, so I thought it was the craziest idea ever. So this is I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I think it's a crazy idea for you, but maybe not for, I don't know, Sue Moody, right? I'm just saying.
Sure.
Right? So Sue Moody might go, that's my favorite thing. What are you talking about? And it works for me just fine. Awesome. I think it works just fine. But there's enough ways. As long as we say, hey, instead of doing that, I'm doing this. And this has to be a result. It has to be doing something that provides a result that you can point to and say, hey, but when I do this for 2 hours, I get this many referrals in. And that's the way that I choose to do my business.
I really appreciate that because I've had the best year I've ever had in my life. And a lot of guys know, a lot of y'all know that in both MMA and on here. And I was just surprised. He's still pushing really hard. And I'm thinking about pushing back a little bit. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'd definitely, just say, hey, man, that's not going to work for me. Once you ask me what I'm doing and help me do more of what's already working. Like before we do something new, let's do more of what's already working because we already do that. We're already getting results. We're already in that momentum.
Right.
Let's do more of what's already working.
I love it. That's the way to do it.
Take stuff off my plate so I can do more of that.
Oh man, now we're digging in.
Yeah,
man, I'm telling you, that's a whole nother level, but I appreciate it.
Well,
all right, brother, I appreciate you, my man.
Thank you. Yeah, and then hey, I see we got some hands raised, but is it okay, Melissa and Chauncey, if we just get to Owen real quick, and then can you come back afterward? Is that fine? Okay, yeah, we got to make sure Owen has some time. If you're getting value from this already, go ahead and tap that like button. It helps more loan officers find content that actually makes a difference. And hey, if staying ahead of the market and learning what's really working in our industry matters to you, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you don't miss another episode. We read every comment, so drop your thoughts down below. We'd love to hear from you and know what's working or what you'd like us to cover next. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you here next time. All right, Owen, obviously... We want to get Owen Lee up with the mortgage market update. But clearly, that's a tough act to follow, my friend. I mean, there was some gold flying around there, man. So,
You
no, I'm
know,
kidding. You've always got gold too. Let's go, baby. What you got?
coming up after Carl White, like I don't know what the right analogy is. It's like a carnival piano player following Billy Joel. I don't know.
See, I'm picturing what was that? What was that famous SNL skit? Oh shoot! See, I should have had it. Where the two guys are trying out for Chippendales, and one is that very shapely.
Oh, Patrick
Yeah,
Swayze.
I'm Chris Farley.
Yes, yes,
You're
yes.
Patrick
Farley and
Swayze. I'm
Swayze.
Yeah, Chris Farley and Patrick Swayze. That's how I feel when you're coming on it. You're Patrick, of course, and I'm more the Chris Farley. So anyway,
I don't have the hair, let alone the abs. I don't
what are
have
we
the
doing
hair.
today?
Oh, hey, real quick, Jen, if you want to get ready to throw up the slides, I just want to say something real quick to all the people that wrote promise in the chat and the 90-day promise. Number one, congratulations. You know, we've talked all year long, and this chart shows an example of that, of this being a series of sprints, right? That this year we're going to bounce up and down, sometimes violently within the same interest rate range. And we're getting towards another peak, as we can see here on the chart. But to do a series of sprints, to take advantage of the sprint, literally, sometimes one of the sprints might last 6 days or 16 days. I mean, we don't really know. The one that we had in early April lasted about 2 weeks, and the lows last that long. So if you're doing the 90-day and you're doing the promise, you always have your feet in the starting block. So I just wanted to say congratulations to all the people that wrote promise in the chat. We still got 14 minutes left if some more people want to put promise in the chat, but that's how you get ready in order to take advantage of this marketplace. So don't forget that. Keep doing it. So let's look at a couple of things. There's been a lot of news since I last came on. So we're going to look at the market, and then we're going to look at the news. Couple of things. So if you just look at this chart, and again, we all remember this is a UBS chart from the MBS market. So, up means interest rates coming down. The numbers move inversely to one another. So you can see what we've been going through, and the narrative is swinging towards our direction. You can see, back 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago now, when the House passed the so-called Big Beautiful Bill Act, which does contain a lot of good stuff. It contains a lot of the things that the Mortgage Bankers Association was looking for. It's largely a good bill for housing, for servicing values, which supports pricing. But there are a lot of valid concerns about whether or not it's going to balloon the deficit. And now that some senators have come out, Elon Musk has come out against it, they kind of feel like the spending might trend downward a little bit. We've seen some team consumer, the CPI was tame, the PPI was tame, the consumer number, the producer number, and the consumer product expenditure index, which is the PCE, the Fed's favored inflation gauge, all low. Bill Pulte, the FHFA director, President Trump, call on Powell to lower rates almost daily. But you can see the narrative swinging in our direction, right? It's still a volatile market. If they come out tomorrow with, 313,000 jobs instead of 63,000 jobs, you're going to get a swing back in the other direction, but it's swinging in our direction. So if you have your feet in the starting block and you're ready to go, you might have a week or 2 or 3 or whatever into a really good run where you can pick up an extra 4 to 14 commission checks. And you do that 2 or 3 times a year, and then you really got something cooking. So we can see the market coming back in our direction, which is a good thing. This last day, we had that ADP low. That's the precursor, the private payroll number. We're going to get the Bureau of Labor Statistics number tomorrow morning. It's Jobs Friday. I would recommend locking your loans. I'm not a gambler. Anybody who says they know what that number is going to come in at is reading that magic 8 ball that those of us that are about 50 or 60 had when we were kids. So, Jen, can you flip to the next slide? So you can just see the ups and the downs, right? This is a longer, about a 1 month chart right here. We are nearing the high for the month. You can see a couple of the lows, the government spending concerns. That's when the big, beautiful bill passed. The Moody's downgrade, which I don't really understand, to be honest with you. The 2 other ratings agencies already had the United States there. It was based on information that everybody's had for weeks and months. But anyway, we are nearing the high for the month. So that's a good thing, especially for everybody with their feet in the starting block. So the market's swinging back in our direction. We don't really have much to go on yet, other than the fact that we still believe we're going to be in that range, which is probably about 6.25% to 7% on the interest rate side. And we're coming off, bumping up against that 7, and it's costing less discount points. Everybody's on a different pay program, but I think clearly you can see the pricing improvement of 100 basis points over the past 10 days or so. So that's all good news. Now, I just want to switch to another topic quick, which is kind of fun. And this is the tweeting habits or X-posting habits, have it what you will, of our FHFA director, Bill Pulte. He is getting more and more active and more comfortable in the job, and so is President Trump. And somebody's caught President Trump's ear about Fannie and Freddie, and he's pushing to take them public. And so what does that mean for the industry? Well, it means a couple of things. It means a little bit of chaos, a little bit of uncertainty, as if we haven't had enough of that. And it's interesting to me, and we'll see what happens with these things, because I'm always, and again, not being political like left and right, I'm just always skeptical about this issue that a politician would use some of their considerable political capital on something that almost nobody in America really understands. So if we could go to the next slide, let's just take a look at some of this stuff. Here's Bill Pulte retweeting and re-emphasizing what President Trump said. This is from the very end of last month, about that. Let's go to the next slide, Jen. I think we have another one. So let's just say one last thing, and then we'll switch to his other posting habit lately, which has been about credit reports, which is something that's very interesting. As everybody knows, the cost of a credit report has gone up probably 300 to 400% over the past 3 years, and the industry has just gotten pummeled. This is something that I've done a ton of work on with the MBA, but we're catching the eye of the administration. You can see Pulte here saying, thanks for your input, still not happy with FICO. We should be making some decisions on all the related items in the next 1 to 3 weeks. This was about 10 days ago. I did a LinkedIn post the other day about this topic and kind of questioning whether Director Pulte, we're down to 0 to 2 weeks. So if anyone wants to stay on top of this issue, follow me on LinkedIn. I post about it quite a bit. And they're really looking at the consumer angle of this. So we're getting a lot of action from Bill Pulte and President Trump on 2 huge issues in the mortgage industry. I really think that once this big, beautiful bill gets resolved, whether that's by the self-imposed 4th of July deadline, or what some people believe is the more realistic deadline in the first week of September, where if they don't get it done by then, they lose the ability to do the reconciliation process, meaning they have to get 60 votes in the Senate, then we're going to really see something. So we got to keep our eyes and ears open as an industry. We got to get ready to advocate for ourselves because these are two huge, huge issues that are coming down the pike after this big, beautiful bill issue. And we're kind of getting a preview of that. So good market news this morning. Congrats again to everybody who put I promise in there. And here you just see a couple more Pulte posts. He's an interesting follow for those of you that are on the X platform. I'm not in the Bill Pulte PR business, but if you're in the mortgage industry, you really should follow him because the stuff that pops up gives you an insight into what they're thinking and what they're trying to make news about. I still think the GSE release is going to be a long, slow slog, but it's probably the most consequential issue in the mortgage industry in the past 20 years, and that is zero exaggeration or hyperbole. So we just got to keep our eyes and ears open. But I love that more people are putting promise in the chat. Congrats to you. And, you're really getting ready to get your feet in the starting block and get ready to go on our series of sprints. So good news on the interest rate front this morning. Interesting news on the news front, if you will.
Good
Hey,
stuff,
Owen,
man.
can I ask you just a couple of quick questions I saw in the chat?
Sure.
So,
Yeah, go ahead.
for those of you that have followed Owen, you brought up a topic about Fannie and Freddie being public. Josh asked a question. If we invest in Fannie and Freddie being public, is that something to do with insider trading or a compliance issue?
I don't think anybody in the mortgage industry has any compliance or insider trading issue if they wanted to make a personal investment in Fannie and Freddie. I'm not a securities and exchange lawyer, but insider trading has to do with being privy to information that the general public doesn't have about the movement of a stock, good news, bad news, something during the quiet period, but before they announce earnings or something like that. So, all this stuff that I've shown is readily available to the public. So I'm not full disclosure, I'm not a securities lawyer, but I am a lawyer. I can't see an issue at all.
And you did
Okay.
stay at the Holiday Inn Express last night.
I did,
Yeah.
and the coffee was better than average.
Yeah.
Although not as good as the coffee that Q platform is going to buy
Yeah,
everybody.
we'll be
that,
knocking on
I
their
think
door.
Kevin
Fine,
Gillespie
okay.
talked about earlier.
They're getting a call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Christy, you got anything else from the chat, or was that the only one we wanted? I know we got some people with some hands up.
Yeah, no, that's the only one for now because other ones were answered. Thank you.
Okay.
Cool, man. All right, let's get to the hands real quick. We're at the top of the hour already. Melissa, you've been patiently waiting. Go for it. What you got? And this might go back to what you need some help with. I don't know.
Yes. So Lee brought up a good pain point for me. I've been doing the calls, I've been doing the DSP, but I need help with like changing my mindset with asking for the business and not feeling like I'm asking for like help. I've been pretty much taking care of myself since I was 16, and I have a problem like asking for help. I'm very independent, and when I'm asking, I feel like that's the missing key for me. Because I have a great personality, I get along well, I'm really good at my job. It's just I don't ask when I'm making my calls, and I think it's because of like this mindset that I have that like asking for help is a weakness.
Hey, hey, Melissa.
Yes,
Hey, can I ask you a favor?
100%.
All right, can you help me out with something?
Sure,
Have you enjoyed the Breakfast Club? Have we been helpful for you?
definitely.
Do you think where do you live?
Virginia Beach.
Oh, love Virginia Beach. So, you probably know some loan officers in Virginia Beach that I don't know. Would you agree about that?
Yeah,
Could I ask you a favor to if you go to an association meeting or in your office and you see other loan officers, could I ask you to to have them pop here and join us one day and see what we do here. Maybe we can help them too. Would that be okay? Is that okay for me to ask you that?
Yeah, of course.
All right. So Melissa, did I just seem desperate?
No, not at all.
No. Did you look at it like, hey, Carl seems like a nice guy. I can do him a favor, and that makes me feel good about me, right? That might be the voice that you said to yourself, right? At some level, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. Did it seem like I'm fragile? I can't make it, and if you don't help me, I'm a sniveling dweeb.
No, not at all.
Not at all. So somehow we have it that when we ask that and it's because of successful advertising, right? I know what it called. It's from people saying begging for business, chasing realtors, and all that other crap. There's no such thing, by the way. So begging for business would be on your hands and knees, crying profusely, like somebody's got your little puppy dog and they're getting ready to, waterboard him or something, right? And
getting close, Carl. I'm getting close.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. So, and I know we're on time crunch. This is a big deal. So, you ever go to a birthday party, and this is true for whether it's 5-year-olds or 80-year-olds. And when you go to a birthday party, and you got let's say it's Krista's birthday. And so you, me, and all the rest of us, we go to Krista's birthday, and it's time to open up presents. When she opens up when she's opening presents, aren't you and I both sitting there going, I hope she opens mine next. I hope she opens mine next. Right? Am I right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And we enjoy watching her open up our present probably as much or maybe even more, they tell me, than she enjoys receiving the present. Like in kids at birthday parties, before they learn the filter, they're like, open mine next, open mine next. And so when somebody gives you a referral, when I ask for a referral, if I asked Owen for a referral, I'm giving him an opportunity to feel good about himself, because they tell me that the reason why we give gifts isn't that I want to give a gift to Krista per se, even though I think I do, but the psychologists tell me the reason I give it is because I want to feel good about myself when I see the smile on her face receiving that gift. Now, that sounds very narcissistic, but they tell me that's the psychology behind gifts. And so if I tell everybody it's my birthday coming up and they send me presents, it's giving them an opportunity to feel good about themselves for giving something. When people give to charities, I feel good about helping those kids, right? I want to help the kids, but they tell me, in addition to that, I want to feel good about myself about participating. And so you seem like a really nice person. And so when you're asking for the business, you're giving people an opportunity to feel good about themselves for helping somebody that they likely like. And so if we don't ask for the business, we're robbing them of the opportunity to feel good about themselves, and we're robbing our family, and we're robbing those people that might go with another lender that might not have the ethics that you do. And so I look at it that it's our moral obligation as decent human beings to make that offer. And I'm not saying this to you, Melissa. I say this to myself. How dare you be so selfish as to rob people from this awesome opportunity they have to work with me?
I think I'm going to write that on a sticky note and put it on my computer.
Yeah.
Someone put that in the chat.
That's a big deal. So, Frank, I didn't mean to take so much time. That's a really big deal. And so all the begging and chasing is just somebody trying to sell you something, right? And it's a made up thing that doesn't exist.
Man,
well, I'm excited to do my call today, Carl. Thank you very much.
All right, you go make it happen, Melissa.
Hey, thanks for enjoying this Loan Officer Breakfast Club YouTube video. If you are into industry news, if you like to keep up with what's going on within the mortgage and real estate industry, you might not be aware of this, but you can get free news snippets every single day by going to loanofficerbreakfastclub.com. In the top nav bar, you'll see in the news. Click it, daily, fresh news about the mortgage and real estate industry. There's even loan officer perspective and realtor perspective on each news story that you can make use of in your marketing. So enjoy loanofficerbreakfastclub.com/in the news. Been a great breakfast club.
Yeah.
Today. It's just been awesome, man. Thank you, Carl, for that. Melissa, thanks for asking the question. Apparently, a lot of people needed to hear that. And Carl, again, I just feel like it's time for a smoke as usual. So, all right. So we got a couple more hands up. Brad, let's get to it, brother. And then Chauncey, we got to get on out of here and get to work. Ask for the business. Let's go.
I thought Chauncey had his hand up first, but Owen, yesterday
Yes, sir.
there was something in Market Watch. The headline was America's biggest lender is closing its wallet. Investors and home buyers will feel it. Here's what to watch. They're talking about Japan, saying they're not going to buy any more bonds, and that's going to hurt our supply of funds. Have you thought about that, or do you know anything about it?
There's a lot of chatter about whether or not the foreign governments that buy U.S. bonds, whether they be mortgage-backed securities or the actual T-bills, are going to happen. Whether or not that 10-year to mortgage bond spread is going to widen, which means home mortgage interest rates will go up, even though the general interest rate is not going up. I think it's all noise until after all the tariff stuff is done. Let's see how the dust settles. It's probably a negotiating ploy. I don't know, but I'm skeptical until all the tariff stuff is done.
Cool. Thank you, Owen. Hey, Chauncey, before we get to you, Chris Johnston, what you got tomorrow?
So tomorrow, we actually discovered something in the members call this week about ChatGPT giving you incredible talking points about your qualified agents before you call them. So I'm going to share a little prompt. So it gives you like a personal hook that you can have when you're making your call to your realtor. But ChatGPT goes out and checks all their social profiles and looks for that one like thing that you can use to open the conversation. Just have a great little conversation. And then we're going to talk about the foundation of getting ChatGPT to recommend your mortgage business to consumers that are using ChatGPT to do research. So that's what we've got on the docket for tomorrow morning.
That's going to be cool. Need to bring the pack of smokes to all these breakfast clubs, I tell you. All right, Chauncey.
Smokes.
Let's go
Beet
for
juice,
it.
Owen. Beet juice.
All right. Thank
Love
you. LOBC, I have a new record. I got 6 contracts in 36 hours. Never has been done before by me.
Whoa.
Way to go.
Whoa.
Very new record.
Oh, wait, Chauncey, didn't you see that graph that Owen just showed up? You can't be doing that.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Right. And one big thing.
He's going to do 18 in the next 2 days.
There you go.
Get with the program, Chauncey. Yeah.
So the big thing I want to help everybody. I think it was Lee, Miss Melissa, and things of the sort. A lot of the things LOBC, Carl, Frank, Stephen, Owen talk about. Find a way to make it work for you, right? So. I can't go out and speak the way Owen speak. For me, if I try to talk to a client that way, it will sound transactional, right? We're in relationship selling, right? So you have to find a way to make it sound like you and make it make sense, right? So what I do is, Owen, I actually follow you on LinkedIn. I see your videos. Keep it up. Keep going. All right. So I follow Owen on LinkedIn. I watch all the videos from LOBC on YouTube, and also look at Housing Wire, okay? So to stay up to date what's actually going on. And I find a way to make that spin. So one data point I saw 2 days ago was that there's 34% more sellers than buyers right now in the market. What does that mean? What does that mean? In the chat, if you all could just put in there what that means. What does that mean? How can you spin that to your client when they're saying, oh, the market's bad, this and that? We all know on this webinar here is that if there's more sellers than buyers, then 10 times out of 10, we might could get some sellers credits, right? So if they're complaining about rates being at 6.25 FHA or conventional being at 6.8, 7%, whatever it may be, what if we get 5,000 in credits? What if we got 6,000 in credits? What if we got 10,000 in credits? Right now, all the 6 contracts I had just come in, they're averaging $7,500 in seller credits coming back. What do you all think I'm gonna do with that money? I can do a permanent buy down. I could do a temporary buy down, a 2-1. I have a lot of things to play with, but the reason why those 6 contracts came in, because I explained that to the client up front when I did my consultation. Hey, look, I think we can potentially get sellers credits for these homes. It's been on the market 3 weeks, 2 months, et cetera, et cetera. Now they're looking like, oh, what can you do with that money, Chauncey? I can do X, Y, and Z. And then they're like, oh, the rates aren't high. The seller can pay for it to come down. Yes, you can do that. And next thing you know, they just signing offers, taking tours. That's how I got those 6 contracts in 36 hours. So find a way to spin it and make it work. Don't get caught up in all the negative news. Trust me, there's a spin there that you can do to help your buyers move forward.
Great stuff, Chauncey. Thank you, man.
Frank, can I add something to what Chauncey said real quick?
Yeah.
First of all, Chauncey, congratulations. That's
Thank you.
100% awesome. Here's a guy that I bet you had his feet in the starting block, right? And is doing his prospecting.
Yep.
The one thing I would say, I love the idea, whether you put it into chat or whatever, about the buyers versus sellers aspect of it. I would just make sure that you regionalize it, because if you look at a map, like Chauncey, where are you?
I'm in Florida, Tampa, Florida.
Okay, that's probably the number one area of the country right now where there is more sellers than buyers. If you look at the data in the Northeast, if you're in New Jersey or Pennsylvania or New York State or, Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois, the numbers aren't quite the same. So it might be something that's good to put in your AI or, whatever. Just dig one level deeper, because it's an awesome idea, but you might want to flip the script depending on what area of the country you reside.
Good stuff. Thanks, Owen. Hey, man, this is interesting too, guys. I don't know if you're aware of this. I'm putting the link in the chat. I already put it there. But every day I go through industry news, right? And I find some interesting articles, and I just provide a little snippet. It's on Loan Officer Breakfast Club. There's a link in the chat. It's in the news, loanofficerbreakfastclub.com. Click on in the news. We do it every single day, and just a little snippet, like a little one paragraph and a link to the article source that it came from. But on each of those little articles that it references, it gives a little loan officer perspective and a little realtor perspective, right, based on the article and how it could apply to you. I do ask it. When I do this through chat, of course, but I do make sure that we look for the positive side of things, because a lot of news article headlines can always be doom and gloom. What gets more attention, doom and gloom, right? But in reality, it's probably not doom and gloom. But it's interesting information that's useful. And what I've started doing is at the end of it on the website, if you go to in the news, you click on the article. Down at the bottom, it actually prepares for a loan officer a little email that you could copy and paste and send out to your database, right? And even for realtors too, so that they could copy and paste, say, hey, here's what's in the news and here's how it applies. But it's always with kind of a nice positive spin, like this is how it could help you. And if you need some help, give me a call. It's just a little useful tool. And I know we even used in the AI CRM and ChatGPT, you could take those and even plop them in and tell it to reword it or whatever you want. But it's a very helpful little daily exercise that we do for you guys at Loan Officer Breakfast Club on the website itself. So it's in the news at the top. You click on that. It's going to give you some snippets. You can go to the articles yourself to see what the source article says, right? And keeps you on task of what's kind of going on out there. And after today, I'm going to start dropping in everything and anything that Owen Lee has to say. So I'm going to visit Owen Lee's LinkedIn, and if there whatever the latest thing is he had to say, I'm going to have Owen's Corner in there, something like that, right? So we get some perspective from Owen. So that's going to be in there as well. But again, at the very end, I just started doing this yesterday. At the very bottom of it, it actually gives you like, hey, here's some copy paste if you want to do it regarding these articles. Insert your name stuff, blast it out, whatever. It gives you something to talk about. So I just want to make sure you guys knew that as well. All right. So with that, I think it's time for us to get the heck on out of here. What do you guys say? Today's Thursday, pre-approved and lookings. We're going to make our calls in. Are we going to ask for the business today, peeps? We can do it, right?
Time.
We're going to ask for the business.
Darn time.
It's our moral obligation.
That's right.
It's our moral
Love it.
obligation. Yeah.
Yeah,
all right, guys.
because when we donate part of our earnings to the, and I'm using air quotes here, and I'm not being funny when I say this, the orphanage, people are counting on us, right? So when we ask for the business helping people out, then part of that money that we get, we put to other resources that help other people, and people are counting on us to do that kind of thing. So it's a serious thing. So it was a great topic, Melissa, and trust me, it's something that every single person on this call has struggled with, at least on a weekly basis, including myself. So great topic. Thank you.
And
All right,
Melissa,
good
if you
stuff.
want to practice your scripting with that, give me a call. We'll go over it, sis. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, you guys have a great day. We will see you guys tomorrow. Prepare to get razzle-dazzled by Chris. I cannot wait to see this thing that he's talking about where we get some insights on the qualified. That's awesome. That's going to be great. You guys have a great day. We'll see you here tomorrow. Adios, my friends.
Have a good day, everyone.